This is Austin Lee reporting, and I'm here with Halima Hafiz, a senior from Loyola University, Maryland. She's the president of Mosaic, as well as the Association of Latina Students. Halima, first of all, can you tell me a little about yourself?
Yes, so like you said, I am a senior here at Loyola. I'm majoring in marketing, minoring in information systems. I'm currently the president of the Association of Latinx Students, as well as Mosaic, a Women of Color initiative. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, and I have gone to public school all of my life, which I think I can trace to this interview. And my parents are both immigrants.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit more about Mosaic and the Association of Latina Students and was it Women of Color Initiative? Yeah, okay, perfect.
So Mosaic is an initiative to help bring awareness and also a safe space for women of color at Loyola's campus. And we have a lot of resources available. We also like to raise money for certain organizations here in Baltimore that help women of color here. We're also a resource that tries to bring community to Loyola's campus and bring awareness to women of color specifically, because of course we can talk about people of color, but women overall are usually marginalized, especially women of color, especially Black women. So we like to bring awareness to that. As for the Association of Latinx Students, we also bring cultural awareness to Latin culture, our history, while also making it fun and educational.
That's great. Um, so Halima, can you tell me a little bit about the experiences that your parents may have gone through as immigrants immigrating into this country?
Sure. So my mom is from Panama, which is a Latin American country. She came here in I believe it was the late 80s, early 90s. And like most Latin immigrants arriving to the US, they went straight to New York, where there was a large Latin community. And she moved to Washington Heights, New York City, which is right by the Bronx, but still Manhattan. Um, I always hear her stories about learning English, going to a program called Canva, where she was with other immigrants who just arrived and did not speak a word of English, but somehow they were all able to communicate with one another. And of course, with being an immigrant in the US, there comes hardship. So while she was here and able to live out that American dream of just getting here, she was here alone. She didn't have immediate family. All of her family was back home. So there wasn't as much support as there could have been. And with that said, especially being a woman in the US and not knowing anything, the ins and outs, there was space for a lot of trial and error. Um, so now that my mom is a single parent who is an immigrant, who is also, considering we're in a pandemic, is also an essential worker, I see how much she sacrifices to help her two daughters succeed. And I think the case with a lot of immigrants is pushing their kids to do the best that they could in this country because they never had that opportunity themselves in their home countries.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
My next question was actually going to be like, how would she say like that process was like easy or difficult? I guess you kind of answered that perseverance and loves hardship, working hard. And,
I mean, yeah, I can go a little bit more into depth. I think for most immigrant parents, it's like you you come to the US in hopes of your children accomplishing the dreams that they couldn't accomplish. That's why there's still that kind of, sometimes immigrant parents are a lot more harder on their kids than, first generation, not first generation, but like generations of American parents. You'll find that more immigrant kids have more stresses on them, more responsibilities on them, more ideas to live up to. And it's because their parents put this expectation of them. And it's a positive expectation of being successful, but it can also come with its downsides because children of immigrants have more to lose than children whose parents have already, succeeded in America and have salary-based jobs and don't have to sacrifice their health, their time, and their, physical health to keep working, if that makes any sense.
it does for sure.
Mhm.
I agree. What I got a couple questions left. Just two. What is your view on the current policies with the switch that we've had from President Trump to President Biden? What do you think can be improving on based on what you've seen, experiences?
Um, I think it's very clear with Trump, there was almost a, a disapproval of immigrants, or certain immigrants of certain backgrounds were just not um, entirely looked upon in a positive light. And I think with any politician, we can't expect the most. I think you always have to take things with a grain of salt, because with the Biden administration, their ideas seem really great, seem really, really positive, but it's not until it actually happens where it can be trusted and believed. So if Biden is proposing that he will bring families back together from Trump's separation of families, and if he is proposing that more people will be able to be granted citizenship, it's not until this actually happens that I'll be happy with his
Considered a
presidency, if that makes
success.
any sense.
So it's like
So
all talk until you.
yeah, and I think that's the case with almost all politicians, no matter what side you are on. It's see what they actually do. And while his proposals seem really great, and ideally it sounds like an amazing idea, and a lot of people are happy, you never know. You never know what can happen once someone is in power. So I'm just hoping he goes along with it. But with the past presidency, obviously immigration was so had such a negative experience in the last 4 years, and children are having a Muslim ban where people of predominantly Muslim countries were just not allowed to come into the US. It's like clearly there's a bias here that the administration is not addressing. But with that said, politicians are politicians, and you don't know what they truly want until they're in office. So I think we just have to see in the next few months what happens. So
Sure. Last questions, Lima. As president of Mosaic, you and the Association of Latina Students, you obviously have a big influence. What do you have to say to any immigrants that are listening or could be listening in the future?
I think that while I am US born, and a lot of people here at Loyola have been born in the United States, I completely empathize and understand that my experience being born here provides me with a lot of more privilege than those who weren't born here. But for any immigrants that are listening to this or interested in joining Mosaic or the Association of Latinx Students, to please come forward and to please, be more than open to have a talk with us or just join us. You don't have to share anything that's too personal to you or too vulnerable. We respect your space, we respect your identity, and that as immigrants, we understand how difficult it is to be in a new country where you dreamt of being in this country and now you're here, and it's just a little bit more difficult than you expected. But with that said, we want to be able to use our resources for you, because that's the point of our resources. It's not for us, it's for those outside of us. So please look into ALAS and Mosaic, and we would be more than happy to welcome you in with open arms.
Thank you so much, Lima.
No problem.
This is Austin Lee reporting. Bye-bye.